So we cut to the next day as Tak is still locked away in his cell.
I had to escape.
Oh, God, shut up! This a-hole has more inner monologue than Samus from Metroid Other M!
Zigzag had ordered a polo match in Yum Yum's honor. Of course, she was far from impressed.
If only Adam was here to tell me what to think. So the next day, Tak breaks free out of his cell as the thief tries to steal the golden balls from the top of the castle.
Finally, I was free.
The grass felt soft on my feet. Why don't I monologue about that for several hours? The grass is green. A frog is green. I'm sure I can talk about this in great detail somehow.
Eventually, the thief manages to get the golden balls as he, here's a shocker, monologues to himself.
You're gonna buy me a castle by the sea. And you're gonna buy me everything I need to turn the basement into a rec room. And with you, I tell you, sweetheart, I'm going to Disneyland.
You know, it's funny. When I hear pop cultural references in a film that takes place in Arabia, I think of Aladdin. But this was being made before Aladdin. Apparently, Disney animators drew influence from this movie when it was being made that helped Aladdin get off the ground. And after that came out, the new producers of this film drew influence from Aladdin. So Aladdin ripped off this, only to have this rip off Aladdin. Basically, the film is a product of animated inbreeding. Suddenly, this is all starting to make more sense, isn't it? So a soldier comes and tells the king that an evil army is brewing, led by an evil man named One-Eye.
One-Eye is coming.
One-Eye?
One-Eye. I prefer apocalyptic pupil.
So as the king prepares his army, Zigzag manages to get the golden spheres from the thief.
Now that I have the balls,
Good night, everybody.
I will go see the king.
Zigzag decides to give the balls to One-Eye while the princess has an idea about how to solve the problem. Apparently there's a witch in the desert that's all knowledgeable. But who's gonna go talk to her?
Where do I find this witch?
You? Never. Much too dangerous.
Father, I'm smarter than any man in this city. And faster than your clumsy henchman.
As was proven by the previous scenes of her running fast and being smart. Okay, bitch, all you did was sing and spit. I don't know how that qualifies you to be a Speedy Gun Einstein. Screw it. So she chooses the cobbler to be his guy because he's lived all his life in the village and has no idea how the desert works. Has great knowledge of the desert and all its secrets. You can tell how many times he's been out there by the incredibly dark tan that he has all over his body. Clearly, he is no stranger to the sun. Okay, so they set out into the desert under the cover of royal escort to find the sudden plot device known as the witch. Well, wait a minute, what happened to his skin? He was looking like Tim Burton's Prince of Persia, now he has a tan like George Hamilton. I know what you're thinking, it's because he went out in the sun that he suddenly tanned, but look, as they're leaving, his skin is a different color, and it's nighttime. This doesn't add up. What, did the animator suffer a fatal heart attack? And then somebody else took over and forgot to tell him that Tak is pale? Continuity, it's not just for the coherent anymore. So they run into a bunch of desert outlaws called the Brigands. They sing another song that makes you want to scalp yourself, and then they decide to join them in their search for the witch.
At last, we reached the hands of glory. All we had to do was wait until the next day when the sun would be directly overhead, and the magic moment would arrive.
Or maybe the writers could have just had us arrive on time, but we found this wasted more animation, and let's face it, we're on a roll with that. So they see the witch who has some confusing, yet somehow still generic advice to give our heroes.
Belief in yourself is what you lack. Attack, and never look back.
Oh, I also have some battle strategies over there, but I find shooting out riddles is a lot more fun. So we see Zigzag hand the balls over to One-Eye, and they prepare to take over the city.
One-Eye's attack!
You know, we're never even told what kind of power the balls have, or even what they do. We never see them in motion, and we don't really know how powerful they are. Are we just supposed to assume they're, So One Eye's army attacks with whatever the hell this thing is, as Zigzag tries to take out Tak.
Attack! Attack! Attack!
Well, I guess when you make a machine that implausible, you're just begging for it to be taken down in an implausible way. But there's still the final battle to be had with Zigzag and Tak. Huh, that was easy. You're mine, Toots.
Ah! End of the ride, Zigzag!
What, cobbler?
I don't think he said anything. So Tak defeats the wizard by sewing him up, the thief gets the golden balls back, and One Eye's army is destroyed. And in the end, we find that non-threatening blandness wins the day.
So next time you see a shooting star, be proud of who you really are. Do in your heart what you know is right, and you too shall become an Arabian Night.
Unless you're an animator who spends most of his life and thousands of dollars trying to tell the story he's always wanted to tell. In which case, you're totally screwed. Alright, so I have good news and bad news. The bad news is this movie sucks! It's edited clumsily, the songs are forgettable, the characters are annoyingly bland, as well as annoying. It's just a horrible release. However, the good news is there is a re-edit of this movie called the Recobbled Cut. This uses unfinished animation and storyboards to tell the version that Richard Williams always wanted to see. And let me tell you, it's a lot better. There's no Matthew Broderick or Jonathan Winters, no shitty-ass songs, and virtually no dialogue from the main characters, which is actually pretty unique. Because of this, most of the story is told strictly through the animation, which while some people may see as an acquired taste, is still pretty spectacular. There's so much more expression in just the movements of the character than there is with that horrible inner monologue. It knows what it wants to be, a surreal, artistic, practically silent movie, unlike the Miramax cut, which tries so hard to appeal to everyone that it appeals to no one. And while I can't say the Recobbled Cut is a fantastic movie, it's certainly more impressive and much more entertaining. It's worth checking out for any fan of animation. If you just type in Thief and the Cobbler Recobbled Cut on Google or YouTube, you'll come across it eventually. Check it out and see some really great animation. I'm the Nostalgia Critic, I remember... Hello?
Critic, I knew you would blow me off after that last phone call, so I set a time bomb in your house before it was built. Clever me. But don't worry, it's set to go off in exactly 50 seconds. You'd better run, big boy.
I remember, so you don't have to.
1, 2, skip a few, 50. Oh, I love it when I'm nasty.
Now that I have the balls,